all it clicks with the people that stir in the pot all the time.
Right.
It's funny, and they know it. That's what drives the views.
All right, we are live, guys. What is up, guys? We are at the Hiawassee Marine Bait and Tackle, and if you don't know who we got right here, we got Fletcher Shryock with us, brother. What is up, man?
What's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Man, and we were asked to come out here and do a couple of our little podcast episodes, and I was like, all right, I've got some questions I've got to ask you. And then I found out that you're here pretty local to us because both of us are from Cleveland, and then found out really just right down the road. And from that, and so, Fletcher, let's talk a little bit about fishing and your career. Started out with Bassmasters, and you were able to go to one classic there. I don't remember correctly.
You're right. Yeah.
And but now with being on the MLF and stuff like that, that you've actually been able to go to, I think, what, 3 or 4 Red Crest.
Yeah.
Is there a difference that you see? I know with Bassmasters, it's all everything around Bassmasters is kind of all about the weight and stuff. With y'all, the Red Crest not having it is because I consider that it is like a comparable event, but Bassmaster has that advantage because of the weight that they're able to draw more crowds.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Bassmaster Classic is just the Bassmaster Classic. I mean, I think they've done a really good job with the Red Crest trying to make it like that, but I don't think you can compare the two. I mean, the Classic's the Classic. And I've missed it. That's the one, I mean, I hate to say that's the one thing that I've missed. That's one big one that I know that everyone missed. I know MLF has tried to make the Red Crest as good as they can. I think it was good. I think the one advantage that MLF has, and I'm very in the middle on this stuff, just so people know, like I'm not, trust me, at this point, I'm very in the middle, neutral. I try to see it all. I think the one element that they have is the fact that we can watch it live score at the, say at Red Crest or whatever. You're in the expo, you see what's going on, you know exactly what's going on. I think that's nice. It's kind of like watching a ball game, like we're going to watch today. You know the score at the moment. I think that's cool. Bass, you don't have that. You're going off a bass track and you're trying to do math. I mean, but it makes for a fun ending.
Right.
And I do like knowing what's going on, even when I'm not there. But that's just a give and take. Yes, we don't have it by hand. You don't get the crowds for that. You don't get the whole trophy of red in front of 10,000 or 5, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to pick, it would be that. But I do think it's cool. Some of the things that MLF has done is cool. It's different than what Bass has brought to the table. But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, the Classic still. That's where everyone still wants to be. That's the biggest tournament bass fishing.
And I think there's pluses and minuses to both trails. As in, like, one, like, Bassmaster gets the crowd, but I think the MLF and stuff actually has a little bit better fish care than Bassmaster. If if you're out here running in 90-degree weather, and if you don't keep ice and keep them fish taken care of, they might be alive as soon as they put them back in the water, but they're only going to be going a half mile down the river and they're belly up.
It shocked me how much I still do it. You know, we put them in the box. It still shocks me. Like the more that I learn how bad it really is as far as killing a fish. But I also learned that I was just with a biologist last week. Spent 2 days with him. And well, he actually raises trophy fish. He just talked about how important it is to take fish out of the system. Even though we're obviously all for catch and release 100% of the time, most everybody. But he's even still talking about how it is important to remove fish from a population. You know. But the problem is you get to a place, in my opinion, I hate to say this, I hate to speak out of line, I feel like chicken's definitely on a downturn. We could probably use some just catch and release out here for a few years. So there's a balance there. Like I think sometimes, yeah, we can, I hate to say it, bass tournament guys can kill some and help the fisher, but it gets to a certain point where, yeah, it's not good. Too. So it's a balance. That's just my opinion.
I used to play about chicken long ago. We talk about this all the time. About 5 years ago, we were chicken rated.
And that's what killed it.
Now that, so all of a sudden, bucket list, it's like Okeechobee was for one.
Toledo Bend, they did it. We have to go back to Toledo Bend in the January, February. And when they rated it number one, the people came. I mean, the people are going to show up, you know?
From everywhere that fish it if they didn't see that.
Yeah.
And I don't care how good the body of water is, you start getting pressure on it, pressure going to affect
You
no matter
put,
how good the body of water
I'll say this, when Bass puts that number one on their list, you might as well count on that place taking the major down there. That's just been the history of it. I mean, I know they're trying to do good for the local economies and stuff like that, but they put that bull. Toledo Bend did it. I know Rayburn's been through a cycle. Y'all been through a cycle here. I don't know this lake near as well as them. I mean, I just happened to move here. I had a whole lot of time to fish, so I don't know this lake that well, but I do know the history of it. Yeah, they put that place on number one, and people start flocking to it. It's just a downturn, and it's just the cycle. So, but that's good for that's what everyone wants. You want to have the best lake. You know what I mean? At least for a period of time. So
And,
it's cool on that aspect.
and you're right. I mean, because as soon as that was printed out and was posted and stuff, I mean, it started to where every boat ramp was full, and 60% of them, the trucks that were in the boat ramps, was from out of state. Most of the time, we've seen a lot of Ohio.
I have seen a ton of Ohio even now. Like there'll be now, I know it's not the same as what it was 2 or 3 years ago, but now I still see Ohio
And
places.
it's crazy. And which when last year when it was posted, and I think Chickamauga dropped to what 12th or 13th or something like that.
It was still 12 or 13 last year.
Yeah, and we did see that gradual decline, and I think it really did help out starting to see this. 8 years ago, it was nothing for 2 or 3 times a week. We're seeing 10 pounders being caught out here. Now, if you see a 10 pounder, now if you see a 10 pounder, it might be every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe once a month, to where somebody's got caught a 10 pounder. It's really kind of I call it or showing pictures. But
Yes, less and less for sure.
and but that being said, like, what has been the best advice that you have gotten in your fishing career that has kind of helped you make a next step?
I think a lot of it, honestly, I had to learn it on my own. The whole, you mean as far as just the overall
Right.
pro fishing thing? A lot of people, I couldn't name one person that said, "Hey, you need to do it like
Right, do
this,"
this.
because every person has a different way to do it. Every person has a different path. Like you taught, sit down and get to know each of the guys. Everyone did it different. Everyone has a different angle. Or like I kind of look at it as 4 platforms. I mean, as far as if you want to be a pro fisherman, you better have 4 platforms. So you better be at least good at all of them. One of them is the relationship side with everyone in the industry, whether that's sponsors, whoever. You need to have good relationships. Your social media, obviously, we know that has to be good. Your fishing game's a given. You better just going out and making a classic or just making red crest. That's expected. Like, I hate to say it to guys, but like, if you're not, like, there's only a couple guys that can catch them like consistently that I would bet on. There's not very many of them. The rest of you better have all these other things figured out. And when you start to look at even the guys that are super successful, like catching them, I'm not talking like catching them and making the classic or red crest or like Jake. There's not very many of them guys that just fish. But if you look at what they do, they're still fishing. They're still running. They're social because they're the hardest workers in the world. So there's really no one. I mean, everyone's going to have to handle, all those. When I say the catching side, I just come up with this the other day because guys were asking about it. You got to have the relationship side. You got to have the sponsorships and the social media. Good, at least good at all those things. It's a tough road to hoe. The thing is, I think there's not very many guys, and I don't know if this has been talked about so much lately. The perception of what goes on in the game and what actually goes on there is maybe you take the Elite Series, the DPT, and I don't know what the number is. Maybe half the guys make a decent thing, and maybe another half of that do better than average. As far as income at the end of the day. So it's definitely a hard thing to get into.
And it is, and it's fishing so on social media is so overcrowded. So for you to make, you have to do something to stand yourself on.
Well, that's just one platform of the 4.
Right, right.
If you know what, so if it's just that, and you don't have the other platforms,
Right.
yeah, you're constantly managing those. What I feel like is the best way for me to answer it to somebody. Yeah, your social media is a given. You better have good numbers there. You better catch them. You better have good relationships. And at the end of it all, hopefully you have sponsors. It's not a given either.
Well, I
Like
mean,
depending on how you manage all the other things,
you wouldn't be able to do what you do if it wasn't for the sponsor.
I
So,
wouldn't do it.
right.
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't.
I mean,
Like,
so
there's a lot of fishing that I could do away from pro fishing, where I could go back and run a business, or however you want to look at it, go earn income from the fishing industry. Man, I would still go fishing. I'd go fish Toyotas. I'd go fish some open. Go fish. I'd go fish where I wanted to, when I wanted to, and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Versus sometimes, like you're told where to go, when to go. Like, yeah, so
And that's too, and that's what I see at a lot of the guys that are on tour, the guys that are actually using others, guys that have fun because
yeah,
they're trying to make a paycheck because they enjoy what they do. And it's like anything else. If you don't enjoy your job, if you don't like what you're doing, if it becomes a work to you, kind of cool.
yeah, for whatever reason, yeah, I think there's just a lot of guys that think that there's all this room in the industry to make a living, and it's just very minimal. And I'd have no problem, like in 5 years, the sponsors got. If things got weird, I would have no problem going and working in a running a business, whatever, on the side, and focusing on that. I'm still going to want to fish, and I know I'm not going to be an angry, getting out there and year after year after year after year. And that's what a lot of guys do. It's just, I don't know. I think that's finally getting out there, and a lot of guys don't talk about it because you don't want that reality out there. And, no one really, no one wants that reality out there, but it is, and it's just becoming more of the dominant, conversation now. So.
exactly.
But a lot of people, you actually used to be a motocross racer.
I use the term pro lightly. I appreciate that. I fished or I raced pro nationals and some supercrosses for 3 years. I was on the gate with like James Stewart and Carmichael. You know what I mean? Like on the gate, but I was a lot behind, or two. You know what I mean?
You actually raced against some
Yeah,
of
we
these
was
things
out
that
there. We was out there doing it, and yeah, it was fun. It was learned a lot. Learned a lot then. I feel like both my brother and I learned everything that we do in fishing from the race. Like it carried over very easily.
when you were motocross racing, actually, the motocross thing, did you always want to be a class person?
No, I didn't even want to be a pro bass fisherman. Honestly, like like kind of what I was saying. If I was to get the support, eventually, I was still generally wanting to fish tournaments. I want to go do it. Now, do I want to make my income from this industry? That was never my main goal. It just kind of now obviously I've tried to make that happen, but I haven't. I don't feel like I overextended myself too far to do it. Yeah, no, I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It always has its ups and I don't see that ending. But as far as the racing, like I wanted to be a pro racer so dang bad, and I thank God now every day that He didn't grant me the gift to do that because I don't know where I would be. You know what I mean? Like if I wouldn't have separated my shoulder, and maybe I wasn't as good as what I wanted to be. I'm thankful for that now. It's funny how things can work. You know what I mean? So
Now, what is it like to be able to fish on a high scale that you are, to have your brother to be able to? What was it like to be able to compete against him?
we only did compete against each other 1 year. Um, it like we tried to help each other in the beginning, and then it got to where we started to learn that this is, I think towards the end of the year we just clearly did separate things, but it was definitely cool. I think that one day, in my opinion, one day we would fish all together again.
And that,
That's what I think about
What's the
that.
age of
3 years. Yep. 3 years older. Yep. Yep. It was fun. I miss being with him and him being separated. Like we don't see each other that much now. That's probably my biggest thing. Whether we work together and help each other in tournaments or not, like some guys have been able to do, is irrelevant. I just see each other very much. Or his focus is in the Sabine River when I'm on in St. Clair. Like we're so different, different. As far
you're
as
doing the same thing, but the world.
we're
at that
living two
time,
different lives. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I think one, sooner than later, I think we'll end up all back together.
and I think I thinking about it. Like, if I was fishing like that or doing any kind of career, you can have a brother or like a best friend or something like that to be able to work. Even if it's just for a short period of time, like you said, for a year, you and Hunter, that year right there just be so like will last forever in memories and things. And like what you're saying, it really don't. It doesn't come down to where, which we know that some of the houses and stuff like that, they're an open book to all of them, to where they're helping out and doing all this stuff. It's not the fact that you're helping, you got to help your brother out or anything like that, but it's just that time really that you've missed over the years because you are in two separate worlds.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, definitely. I mean, yeah, even the whole information, I firmly believe still that you can, just because guys share information, just because we're sharing information, we can honestly get each other down the wrong rabbit hole. I've seen it happen so many times. Like, you may think you're on something on Monday and you tell me, and we're all running it, and this is going to be, they come Thursday, hey, we all, you know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
So
That's like,
that can work both ways, you
I
know?
don't care. I don't care who you are. You can tell somebody what you've been doing. Unless they're out there with you. It's hard to keep what somebody tells you versus out there
100%.
and you
Yeah, yeah.
know.
Yeah, and then sometimes if I find a certain thing, 'cause I like to fish shallow, I may be very specific to the lake, you know, and that's what I remember Hunter and I got into it with his brothers. We got into Kentucky Lake because the lake ended up fishing really small once you found it, and then, you know what I mean. It was kind of so it can go both ways on that whole info sharing. That's something I've kind of gotten away from. Obviously, with MLF, our rules were, at least in the beginning, we were allowed to talk to anyone at all. And it made everyone nervous at first, myself included, but after a little while, I was like, oh, I like this. I like being able to just do my own thing, not have to worry about asking anyone, not have to worry about them telling me anything. And there is a lot of beauty in that, like, and just doing me just doing my stuff. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot then that, like, man, you can find, there's another gear usually within yourself to find your own fish if you're forced to. But if it's day three of practice and you're second and you got to phone a friend, it's like for
oh,
me,
yeah, you're
that's
done.
when it's over.
Yeah.
But if it's third day of whatever, the second day of practice, I don't have a phone a friend. I'm going to have to find something that I know how
What
to do
makes
to
you
catch
dig
a fish.
deeper to try to
100%. And then when you find that, that's the deal. It's not phoning a friend usually, but sometimes it's scary. Like, you know, trying to get some.
Well, the one that came up earlier, I think right after the season for both VAs and the best boat on the MLF is that I think I've seen it somewhere release release that because I know from experience and always can have somebody that can talk to you.
yeah,
They'll say
guys.
anything. All of a sudden, you know, you need to go over on that point there. On that state, you need to kind of go there, and that's a fun. You talk to actually walk out because it's sad. But
It's really
then the guys that are actually, so it's hard for you can't do this. That.
the problem. Yeah, you just said something. There's a whole conversation itself. But yeah, they can't police the honest guy from the dishonest guy. And it's a problem. It's a problem in fishing. We have guys that are absolutely. I'm looking at the camera. There's a number of them, and it's hard to distinguish them guys from the guy like yourself that's honest. You know, just maybe he may fail a polygraph because he's just being honest and said, "Yeah, I got information, but I didn't want it." How do you distinguish him from the guy that's flat out?
Saying, not,
Hey, text me. What's some waypoints again? Just text them all. We know what we're talking about here. Um, Yeah, we have some of that, but it's hard to distinguish between those two. I don't know what the right answer is. I know that they're trying to make it right, but it's going on. You know, it's going on.
now, this next question, I kind of want to ask. I'll just ask you. I think that because I don't want to put you on the spot. How do you? I'll just move on from that. But how do you?
Well, no, that's it. That's all I was. That's all I had to say on that. I'm just saying that
No, no,
it
no.
is hard to police the information rule, but there are guys, and there's a small select group of them that are absolutely violating it. They do it consistently, and I think it's a problem. Now, are they winning because of that? Or are they? No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that it's absolutely not.
Well,
So
what I was going to kind of say though, it's like with the bass pro stuff like that, cutting down like 30 people have lost.
35, maybe 35.
That it's like now they're having to kind of step back or whatever, make a move somewhere else, and kind of going. I was kind of going off teaching, kind of getting information. How do you think with now they're
I know where you're going with this.
like, how is it?
You're thinking it's going to be the wild, wild west.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. They're creating the kind of environment. I looked at the numbers, and I'm at like 27 as far as recall. Like if they take the 35, I'm like 27. So I would have to go. I could technically get kicked out, but it's pretty dang hard. So I'd say there's 30 guys. It's kind of feels pretty good about it. But you got 50 guys. Think about it. I don't know if this is being talked about very much. There's 50 guys that are fighting for their jobs and their careers in a sport where the gray area is kind of like this.
And that was the
So,
reason
yeah,
why
no, I
I
you can
didn't want
see.
to kind of put you on the spot
It's
with it. And
One thing I thought about a while back, I should say this on camera, but one of the guys that actually
It's all out there at this
It is,
point.
it
Everything
is.
that we've talked about is already out there.
right,
his way out of the country right now is one so what's going to happen in 2 years or in 2024? Is he going to step back?
but that's a long story in itself too.
Yeah,
Should he be fishing with it or should he be running a business?
yeah.
I think the fact that we're talking about it, everyone knows the answer to that.
Right. So, but so trying to get away from all that because I mean I know that.
No, there's definitely. I mean, not. Because I can tell you're uncomfortable thinking
No,
you're
I
making
don't
me
want
uncomfortable.
right.
No,
I don't,
no, you're getting ready to watch the Hunger Games. You're gonna watch 50 guys fight for their job. And the thing is too, like that might sound like like I may be at work. Shit, I could get, especially if I get to get surgery and a certain number of rookies just really excel. I could be in that fucking block too, but like it's just creating a bad environment. Like for even the guys that are above that line. I mean, let's just say if I'm going down a stretch of bank and I'm catching up and I see, Fletcher's leading or whatever by now I'll go back on and catch up. He's got 37 and you only got 7. You roll by and you see what I'm doing. Hey, the thing is too, like, can I blame the guy if I know him? Because I know a lot of these guys. I'm friends with a lot of the guys. But if a certain angler, I know he's in a tough spot, and he's like, bro, I need some fish. What am I going to say? Do I mean, I guess every situation is different, but it's like, no. Or do I let him have it? Do I leave? You don't want to, like, I don't want to be in the environment's not. The environment we're about to be in isn't good because you're also going to have guys that may not be as well liked. They're just going to cut you off and do what they got to do, and I'm not going to appreciate that. The next guys aren't going to appreciate it. So we're back on it. There's a lot of things. It's going to be entertaining.
And that's
If that's what they're going for, I think it's going to be entertaining from that aspect.
right.
So yeah, you're going to want to watch. I think there's going to be some. There's
Well, and
going to
that
be
might
some
be how they
eyeballs.
want to boost up their ratings.
I've wondered that because they know, they're creating a Hunger Games situation in 2024 and 2025.
So
Yeah.
let's say you go. Let's say you're coming here. You got a tournament here. How do you go off of like? I've been to Chickamauga 5 or 6 times before in tournaments. Do you go off of your past, knowing what, or do you kind of fish the moment of trying to figure out how to wipe out waypoints and all that, saying I'm going to find my fish myself this way right now, or do I kind of go like, well, I've got this waypoint that's off of like back in the slough. Do you kind of when you're breaking it down?
I can answer. Like, basically, I look at each, especially now things are changing so much too. Like stuff that worked 5 years ago may work now, but now with the forward facing stuff and everything else, not like I'm going to go out to the lake and start panning around. Right? But I'm saying it's changed the way we can do things and make you more efficient. So for how I'm going to handle 2024 each venue, and this is why, even though I live here near Chickamauga now, I'm not competing with this thing because my mind's already to the event. Santee Cooper, Dale Hollow. I mean, I can name off all seven of them, and I'm more focused on what am I going to look at in Toledo? That's where my focus. I could care less about going to gunner. I mean, I want to go fish at Nick and Jack Gunners. Fish. My main focus is those 7 or 8 or 9 events. That's I'm already probably make a trip. I'm going to take and drive around, draft some of them around. Given that time, that body, even though I've been to Toledo Bend a lot, I'm totally wiping all that crap out. And I'm going to have to redo it for this coming tournament because the format is a little different than I was used to being there with 5. So yeah, I want to treat every event, but I focus on growing. You need to focus on what's upcoming that's important for you and your career, and then kind of block out everything else because you don't have enough time and energy to focus. To be an expert on chick photography, an expert on gutters, and turn around and go to Toledo Bend and catch them. It's just hard to do all that stuff.
Sometimes your whole body of water actually hurt too. You see yourself falling back on all your memories
Yeah.
instead of just fishing present. And it's hard to do.
So I know gunners will fairly well, and I did fish. I fished a lot in the fall because obviously, more from like I was saying from winter to say September, I didn't fish much. But I know it well from September to say December. We had VPT there in May this year, and it was awful. Like I had so many ideas, like where to go, and none of it was really going off because a lot of it was more fall type stuff. It was kind of going to practice. Yeah, it was awful. Like I couldn't wait for it to be over, dude. Honestly, and like the years that I lived there, Guntersville was on a downturn, so the deep bite wasn't really a thing. And then it finally come around about this year or last year, it started to become a thing. And then now this year, if you weren't out there on the drop, you would catch it. So that was another thing where I'm like, oh, don't go do that. I've already done that the last 4 years, but here it sucks. Or you're going to get into a fight, or you get into arguing with somebody because that's not what. Then there's so many dang schools out there this year that it wasn't as bad. It just changes. Yeah, the home lake thing is not all that for sure. You got It's really important to treat every event kind of like what I was saying. I think okay, Toledo Bend in February 1st. What's that going to be like? I mean, you got to treat them all separately, or you can get yourself in a bad spot.
That's what Norman and I we talked to some high schoolers and stuff, and we're like, yeah, I got some waypoints, let's say to Hartwell and stuff like that, from where I've gone years prior. And we're like, don't do that. Don't get yourself in because that's all it does. It puts you in a box to where if you're thinking, all right, I'm going to go hit this waypoint, hit this waypoint. Well, you might
You
not
can
have the
spend a
same
day running waypoints.
right.
You got no idea what them dots even mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like we want people to know. 'Cause you want to have like guys like you on the where, and it's not just the boost of our podcast or anything like that, but we want to be able to kind of pique your brain to where our viewers, because we've got people like typically we'll have in between 900 to 1100. We go live
That's awesome.
on Thursdays that they're watching and they're asking questions and stuff back and forth. And so we wanted to kind of when we're talking to you, that's why I kind of worded it that way. You use your own way. It's like you go pick a day and stuff out like that. You wipe it clean. You're finding out the lake what it is at that time. Because to me and Norman, that's most important because you can go all day fishing waypoints, and then at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, put it the best way to put it. I mean, if it's a waypoint like on rock piles on the Great Lakes, great. But if it's brush and all these things, and the lakes change, the levels change. One year a lake may have hydrilla in a certain section, one lake may not have hydrilla at all. The next year hydrilla's back.
Every year.
Right. So it's like unless it's like a rock pile or something. Or even if you're waypointing brush, I would rather go out the month before and find my own fresh brush than get someone else's dots from a year ago because the brush is deteriorated. It might have moved from current. You know what I mean? And then you're out there lost. So you just have to. The waypoint thing, it hasn't worked. Some guys it does maybe, but to me, you got to get out there and get after it.
We've done it and stuff like that.
There's a lot of guys that are fishing on the board that they actually do it every week. They have. And,
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that. I do that a lot.
But yeah, we waypoint we have and start fresh from that turn. It's safe on the part. You still have them, but then just take them out and you have to catch themselves.
Yeah. The way I see it, if it was that good, I'll remember it, or at least I'll
Exactly.
even remember a rough vicinity, and I can scan around in 2 minutes. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like I don't like what, and I would rather not have dots. When in doubt, I would rather not have dots on my graph. Basically, if it's something that good, I'm gonna remember and be like, all right, you know, just point. Well, there it is.
Especially at
You
the
know,
long lake, because you can have 300, 400 dots. And
not
that
a
starts getting
single, not a single one of them
exactly.
mean a
And
fish is
now
gonna be
all
there.
the dots are starting to get in your way.
It
It
does,
starts confusing.
100%,
uh,
100%.
well, we've had you on here for 30 minutes, brother,
You're
and
good. Thank you.
we'll let you kind of mingle around with
We're just
everybody.
hanging out.
But we need to.
You got any questions? We're live right now, right?
We are live.
We
Let's
could do a
see.
question or two if anyone, maybe there was something we talked about that someone was interested in or not.
Uh, let's see. Mike Lindell asked, "Would you rather fish like a Florida lake or be up north fishing for small?"
For me, it's Florida. I like both. I would enjoy fishing for the smallmouth more, but if I'm in a tournament, I'd much rather be in Florida.
Is your comfort level, you just have your comfort level shallow or your comfort level?
More shallow overall. Like the smallmouth stuff, I'm not very comfortable with that stuff, but overall, I'd rather be shallow. Fishing
Right
stuff with my eyes is really, so that's where Florida kind of comes in, you know.
now, what is the most exciting fish catch that you can remember? Drew, I mean, it doesn't have to be professional. You could have been out fishing Chickamauga yesterday. That fish, you don't have to just be like where you said, I came up and like for 20 minutes. We just brainstormed 4 or 5 pounds.
Um, Dude, that's hard to say. There's been a lot of fish catches. I don't know. I think the one a couple years ago, the one that sticks out in my mind was Lake Jordan a couple years ago. I think I caught a 9.4. Um, it was a good day. I think I had 15 that went 60 something, which you got to stop and do the math, but it was like a close to 4.5 on average that day. And then to top it off with a 9.4, that was pretty cool. That
That's,
was cool.
and which is, we're kind of spoiled around here. We don't think, and then Norman being from Central Florida, so being around big bass here in Guntersville and then Norman uh, with Lake Placid, Okeechobee, and stuff like that. And so when people say like a 4 pounder and stuff like that, they're like, up north, I mean, that's good for up there. A lot of people, and even anywhere else in the country, that's good. But when we're thinking 4 pounders, we're kind of disappointed.
It's all
But it's
relative though.
to where located, in the lake section fishing. But again, we're spoiled with having Chickamauga and I mean the bass that we have right around here. But Chickamauga, Guntersville, I mean, in Watts Bar here in the last couple of years has picked up having better quality size fish on it as
Right.
well. So,
Yeah, it's not a bad place to live for quality fish. That's for sure. We are spoiled here. Definitely.
Right on. Before we go out, I want to talk about one thing. Because I know what you're doing, even when I was watching it live. But a lot of our viewers that might not be competitive bass fishermen might not know exactly what you do. Of course, you're
Hmm.
okay. You're right. Um, bring up some opportunity and what you've done. A lot of times, it's the little details on what you do to actually catch a fish. You were sight fishing. You're not too far off Okeechobee. See, because I remember that was yesterday watching. I know what you've done. I know what you're
Okay.
doing, but a lot of viewers might not. You actually apologize to your sponsors on live
Yeah, yeah,
Jersey out
yeah.
because you were actually sight fishing for a while. What people don't realize is as odds on it, down, you took the Jersey out, but we were on your lead sight fishing about what was 7 or 8
No, actually, no. None of those fish were on a bed, but it's easy for you to think that you know, and I might have not exactly said what was going on.
But tell
But
everybody what you, why you kind
basically,
of took your Jersey out.
yeah. So what was going on there? Like you just had fish that were ultra shallow, ultra shallow. You could, I mean, it would look like I was bad. lot of times what I would see is I would swim a jig through an air, and then you'd see the reeds move. You'd see they come out and follow it. But the deal was they're so tall and they're right behind that swim jig, which is inches under the water. And you will know, like I've noticed over time because I love to fish shallow, you will rarely get a bite close to your boat. They're always at the end of your cast because you can't get it far enough away. Because once they get to a certain point, whether it's a tough water or anything where they're looking up and they can see you, they're out. And every now and then you'll get one. I think they'll come up and may or may. Sometimes I don't think they care. It just depends on the mood of the fish. It's like people, but I think for the most part they're going to shy away from that. Every now and then you'll get one that come right up to the boat and they'll be like they want it more than they care about you, and they'll get it at the boat. And you know what I mean? And that fish gets caught. But a lot of times they don't. I feel like 95% of the fish don't track a bait to you because they know something's up. So me taking my jersey off, trying to keep the bait high, stay low from that trajectory, I feel like definitely got a few more bites. Some of the bigger fish that they're smart, they've seen it before, especially on Okeechobee. Like it seems like all the 8-pounders all live in a place the size of this room, and everyone's standing there fishing for them with shiners. It's just kind of how it is there. They're not dumb.
People think about fishing choke too for something straight down. Like you got here, you spent 3 days there practicing or whatever your practice days are. That's a hard the choke. Always Florida likes everything looks good. But you're on the line certain areas, you can fish the slow line for 2 miles and you have a bite all of a sudden within a minute.
Yeah. And they're all, and it just seems like they all live there.
Yeah.
Like you will get that little hot region. And that's another lake I remember I spent a fair amount of time at before one of limits. I lived there just like I said earlier, like I planned ahead and I spent 2 weeks or so roughly down there, 10 days. And the thing about Florida that's different than, say, here or other places is it don't change much from January to March. The good places in January, the good places in December are going to be your better places in March, that period of time. And not every fishery's like that either. This place in May is not going to fish the same way in June, right? So it depends on the time of year, like what you're getting into, like how much you can put forth into pre-fishing or not sometimes, as far as it's going to help you. So it's a wild game. The answer is there's never an answer. It all depends.
Another question is, would you like to see tournaments more spread out through the year instead of having like the first 4 tournaments as a spawning tournament?
Yeah, I like fishing in the fall a lot, so I would like to see that. And I know, yeah, it seems like bass and MLF. We're done by August. It's a lot of free spawn and spawn tournaments, and no, I would like to. I would like to fish in fall tournaments.
One, and also let's just show everybody really how versatile y'all are as anglers. Be able to see the spawn and see the transition from like spring into summer, then summer into fall. I think that really kind of gets overshadowed by just everybody wants like I say with YouTube and TV. Everybody wants to see that big bass, but I think it's more important to show like really how y'all can get on the fish throughout the year.
Right. That was what was cool when we had the MLF Cup events. They were always in the fall, so they had 4 of them. They was always fall fishing. But it wasn't like actually part of the tour, so it was different. But yeah, I would like to have more events. I know with the way the TV and all that stuff works, it's really hard for either organization to really make that work. It's really the reason why they don't. It just comes down to money. I mean, they got to be able to sell the shows, sell the advertising. Without that, it's hard the way it is to make money. Everyone wants more payouts, but no one wants to do what it takes to get them more eyes to get the payouts. So yeah, I mean that's I think that's the biggest reason why we don't fish in the fall is because they just can't generate enough revenue that time of year with the TV slots and eyeballs. But a lot of people in the fall aren't watching fishing. As much as you and I are going to watch it, there's a lot of people that watch it in February and March that won't watch it in October. So that hurts numbers too. So yeah, to make it fair, that would be cool. I just don't think it's financially feasible the way things are.
Well,
Just so people kind of understand the behind the scenes too.
yeah, and a lot of people don't think of the money aspect of it because it is a business. I mean, and they have to make money just as well as they're narrowed it down to that time frame. Or that 6-7 months a year where they can
Honestly, if we wanted to be the best, we start in January and end in April. mean, if you want numbers and eyeballs, like that's where your eyeballs are. Now, does everyone want to watch those fishermen? No, but that's when people are going to pay the most attention. That's when you're going to get the most traction as far as viewers. Is that time period when fishing season's starting? Everyone's cooped up north. Like, those are the best time to get numbers, but that's obviously not going to be the best tournament for us. It's a give and take, is all I'm saying. Once you start to understand how I understand it, but you start to understand how it works. That's why we don't fish.
Well, brother, we're going to let you go.
Thank you guys so much. This was fun.
We need
Thank
to.
you. Thank you.
We'll get some contact, or whatever. We'll try to get you scheduled on. We'll have an hour on, which we almost hit it here.
That's it. Yeah, it's all good.
So,
I enjoyed it.
guys,
Thank you guys.
Be back here a little bit. We want to grab Cole Sand and get him on there.
Thank you.